We are all salespeople. Sales is part of all of our lives, so whether you do it professionally or simply in life, embrace it, master it, profit. This is Life of Selling. When we were children, asking questions was natural. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds fly? Why does grandma have a mustache? Why? We were relentless. We were curious. We challenged assumptions. We didn't accept because that's the way we've always done it as an answer. We lacked the context and experiences to do so. Then something happened. We grew up. We joined companies. We learned processes. We inherited systems. We inherited assumptions. And somewhere along the way, most of us stopped asking why. But the best salespeople never stop asking why. The best employees and leaders never stop asking why. And the smartest people never stop asking why. One of my favorite sales principles is simple. Ask why until you get to the stupid. Not because people are stupid, because business, and life for that matter, are full of habits, processes, assumptions, and rules that have either outlived why they were created or never made sense in the first place. That is the framework. First, notice the stupid, then debunk the reasons behind it, and finally, help correct it. There's an old story about a woman preparing a pot roast. It goes something like this. While preparing a pot roast, a woman cuts both ends off before putting it in the pan. A friend asks why she cuts the ends off. She says, "I don't know. My mother always did it that way." After the friend left, the woman was curious. She called her mother and asked why she did it that way. The mother said, "Well, that's how your grandmother did it." Still curious, she calls her grandmother. The grandmother answered, "That's the way your great-grandmother did it." Now she's fully invested in getting to the answer. She visited her great-grandmother in the nursing home the next day. She asked the same question. The great-grandmother replied, "We only had one small pan. I cut the ends off so the pot roast would fit in it." The original reason made perfect sense, but the repetition did not. This is what happens in business and in life all the time. The first step is noticing it. Not challenging it, not pitching, not correcting, just noticing that something doesn't quite make sense. Maybe what the customer says doesn't match what they actually do. Maybe the problem they describe doesn't line up with the process they are using. Maybe the technology they rely on no longer matches the business they are running. Maybe they are using a system, report, approval process, or workflow that made sense years ago but doesn't fit the current reality. They may not even see it anymore because they've lived with it for so long. Maybe decisions take too long. Maybe too many people are involved. Maybe work is being duplicated. Maybe the customer has simply learned to tolerate the pain caused by something that should have been questioned a long time ago. Great salespeople, leaders, and others notice stupid long before anyone else. Noticing happens naturally and/or they have trained themselves to do so. Once you notice the stupid, the next step is debunking it. Debunking does not mean attacking the customer. It means surfacing the logic behind what they are doing. This is where you start asking why. Why do you do it that way? Help me understand, what is that step solving? What happens if the approval doesn't happen? How often does that exception actually occur? You are not trying to embarrass them. You are trying to help them examine whether the original logic still holds. Sometimes it does, but sometimes the process exists because someone copied an old answer and applied it to a new question. This is critical. Do not tell the customer their process or current solution is stupid. Tell a story about another company with a process or solution that looks exactly like theirs. Show what it costs, show the delays, show what it prevented. Let them recognize their own situation in that story without feeling attacked. Correction comes last. This is where many sellers make the mistake. They jump to the answer before the customer agrees there's a problem. First, clearly define where they are today. Here is the process or solution. Here is the friction or shortcoming. Here is the delay. Here is the risk. Here is the cost of continuing to do it the same way. Then show what could be different. What would it look like if the process was faster? What would it look like if the technology was better? What would it look like if the customer had better visibility? What would it look like if unnecessary steps disappeared? Now you can recommend a better path, not as a product pitch, but as the next logical step after the old assumption has been exposed. When the customer sees the stupid clearly, correction becomes much easier. In this presentation, we've talked about habits, assumptions, processes, solutions, and decisions that people keep repeating without questioning the reason behind them. But once you learn to see the stupid, you start seeing it everywhere. You will find it in your customers' behavior, the way they buy, the way they approve, the way they evaluate vendors, the way they manage risk, the way they cling to inferior technology, the way they keep doing something because that's the way it's always been done. You will also find it in your own company. The meetings nobody needs, the reports nobody read, the approval nobody challenges, the process everybody follows but nobody understands. Every organization has stupid. The only question is whether anyone is willing to challenge it. And you will find stupid in your personal life. Here's a story. Former NFL player Chad Johnson famously lived in his team's facility during his first 2 years in the league. Most teammates and others in the league would ask themselves, "What house should I buy?" Chad asked a very different question. "Why do I even need a house? I already have a place to sleep, eat, shower, watch TV, play games, work out, and practice. And even better, there's no commute." Everyone else was buying big houses, fancy cars, expensive jewelry, because that's what NFL players were supposed to do. Chad kept asking a different question. He kept asking questions until he got to the stupid. And that's the real challenge. Not just for your customers, not just for your company, for you. What are you blindly accepting that you should be questioning? What assumptions did you inherit? What stupid are you repeating? What decisions are you making simply because everyone else is making that decision? Before you commit to a decision, ask why. Sometimes the reason still makes sense. And sometimes you will discover that you're about to unnecessarily cut the ends off of your pot roast. We are all salespeople. Embrace it, master it, profit. This is Life of Selling.